Hello, welcome to G.G.G's Garage. In this episode, we're going to be removing the lock pillar fiberglass, the rocker fiberglass, and I'm going to be fabricating what they call an H frame. It's basically just an H-looking frame that supports, it hooks to the lock pillar and the hinge pillar on both sides, and then there's a cross member. This supports everything, holds everything together while I remove the metal rockers. So let's check it out. Basically, you just get in behind this once you get the rivets taken out, and it pops out pretty easy. I think I got a couple rivets down here too. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Can't see any, but. There you go. Pops right out. I'm also going to remove this front lower inner fender well. That gives me access to the latch pillar. So I popped it off on the other side. I'm going to do the same thing here. There you go, the inner front, I guess you would call it the rear, front, lower inner fender. I don't know. Anyway, it's off. Back out here this morning, I wanted to give everybody an update where I'm at. Have the whole front end trimmed off. If you come around, I've got the quarters trimmed off on both sides. Quarters are trimmed off. They came off nicely in one piece. Although I'm not going to save those because they've been radiused for bigger tires and then patched back in. I've also removed the latch pillar fiberglass. Remove the hinge pillar fiberglass on both sides. As you can see here, I'm fabricating a jig to make sure I have this body doesn't move when I remove the rockers. You can see over here, this one's ready for welding. All it is some 1.5 inch tubing and some plate. So yeah, moving right along. Also, I'm going to have to make a support for this body in the middle somewhere. Not sure how I'm going to do that yet, but I'll keep you guys posted. You could support it on the floor, but then again, when you cut the rockers off, especially the fiberglass rockers, it's going to weaken that. So I'm actually thinking, when I build this cross member, do a T, this is going to hold the front. I'm thinking a T here and then something down to the floor, like through one of these holes, and clamp it tightly. Not sure yet, but we'll figure it out. Here's a little closer look at how I fabricated. I still have to weld this, of course, but I just made a plate and drilled it out where the door latch goes. And then what I did here to make the bar more even was, instead of attaching it to the upper or lower, I made a plate that spanned between the bottom of the upper hinge and the top of the lower hinge. And that made that bar very even across there, as you can see. So I'm gonna start welding this one. Fabricate the other side and get it welded. I have the H-frame built. The mistake I made when I built it was when I welded this center piece here, instead of just stitch welding a little bit at a time, I thought with the square tubing it wouldn't work, but it did. So I had to jig this up on my lift, get these straightened out so I wasn't distorting the frame. I wanted all the bolts to go in easily right where they're at. So got that done, looking good. Well, I have both fiberglass rockers removed from the driver's side and the passenger side. You know, in the middle, these metal rockers aren't bad, but when you get back here to where the damage is, but I'm gonna go ahead, since I got it all stripped off, I'm gonna go ahead and replace the whole rocker. I believe the first thing I need to do is remove this panel on each side here, because it accesses a bolt here, and I do believe there's one way down there too. So I'm gonna have to access both those. Yep. So folks, sorry if I'm sitting down on the job, but us old geezers, we need to take it easy on our knees. And if you hear a little bit of background noise, this is Ohio, late February. Turn the heat up. Hope it's not too noisy. But yeah, let's get started on this. I'm going to come in here on these seams right here, and you fix the light a little bit so you guys aren't seeing shadows. But yeah, I'm going to come in here and start tapping just like I did everything else on these seams and see if I can break some stuff loose. Well, that came out a little tough, but I didn't break anything. That's good. Saved the part. I have these new with the backing plates, with the rivets, so I'll rivet those on once I clean all this up. That'll be for assembly. That'll be a while. We're going to start working on the passenger side now. I got the passenger side panel off, but if you look a nice little mouse house in there also. We'll clean all that up, and I will start removing the firewall. I'm going to remove, there's 2 bolts on each side. They're 1/2 inch. Hopefully they break loose pretty easy. Yep, that one did. Let's see if this lower one does. It's a little lower, a little rustier down here. It came loose. I kept tightening and loosening. Came loose. It's pretty rusty. What I'm going to do first is there's 7 rivets across the top here. I'm going to drill those out and get rid of those, and then we'll start breaking the bonding glue loose. You can see here, rivet. I've center punched them, so I hit the center of them. There's 7 across here. And we're going to get all 7 of those first. Well, for anyone that's doing this for the first time like me, if you attempt to do something crazy like this and tear a firewall off a C2 Corvette, I said there were 7 rivets, which is true, but there's also 2 each on top of the windshield wiper arm support bracket. So there's 1 there, 1 bracket here with 2 on top, and 1 bracket here with 2 on top. So I'm going to drill those out. Well, with a lot of work, I did get the top broken loose, but now I got to work on the bottom. So, yeah, we're getting there. I'm going to do this across here. Yeah, because I have the floor supported by this fancy thread-all rod here, I don't think the floor is going to sag at all. So let's get started on the bottom part of the firewall. Well, I guess the proof is in the pudding. Let's see if we got this thing off. I don't know. Should be off. Oh, we got 1 brace in here I forgot to take out. No problem. We can get that brace out of there. We can get that brace out of there with it's like a 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch. There it is right there. There's me 1/2 inch. Right there waiting on me. So let's get this out of here. There you go. Now let's see if it come out of there. There it did. So not too much problem. Yeah. Window frame looks pretty promising. Let's get this out of the way. Actually, as I start looking at this bottom window frame, I am very happy. I don't see any through rust. I see some surface rust, but we'll sandblast that to make sure. We'll have this whole birdcage sandblasted. Probably have what's left of the body media blasted. I'll do that after I make some, I might do that before I make repairs, just so I can see what's what. But yeah, here we go. Looking good, bud. Yeah. Got her stripped down. Mid-year Mitch would be happy, I think. What I'm going to do now is remove these lower bonding strips on each side of the rocker because I'm going to remove the rocker next. I think what I'm going to do is when I remove these rockers, I remove 2 of my body dolly supports. I thought about moving this one brace, which is adjustable, over and supporting it at the floor, but the problem is the floor doesn't have any strength without the firewall. So what I've decided to do is I have a large piece of 10-foot long tubing, 2x2 tubing. I'm going to run it right under this brace here all the way across and basically create an outrigger. It'll come out here about 2 or 3 feet and I'll support it from the floor. That's why I moved the body forward in my shop so I could get to all this once, because once I support it by the floor, I'm not going to put casters on those. I'm just going to support it solid from the floor. So I'll do all that work in this position. Let's get going. Those came off pretty easy, actually. They're all aluminum rivets, so they pop off pretty easy. Although that one's not popping off very easy. Get right down there. Drill that one out a little bit more. Don't want to get into the fiberglass though. Not much. There we go. Popped right out. Got a little bit, but the head of that covered that. So, yeah. That's the sealant they put on. I think Mitch, puts actually adhesive there to keep the moisture out when he puts his bonding strips back on, but I'll talk to him. Got some repair work here. This looks good. A little bit of repair work on this lower one, not bad. Pretty happy. All right, let's keep going.